we'll just leave this right here and it'll pick up everybody. Okay?
You mean so I can?
You don't have to plug it in. When it's done, you can plug it in, it'll go ding, and then you can steal it. Well, you can't steal my other work on it, but you can steal that one.
Everybody ready to start?
Nope.
Mess over here.
Only if desperately needed, but waiting for you send an email. Yeah.
Trying my last attempt to see if I can get this to work. If not, then we'll switch.
They just flew his computer in from Iowa. That's not even the middle America.
Yeah,
It's the best.
Alright, I'll give it a shot.
Gotta grill the corn. That's the first breath.
That's good to go.
It's good to go, it's on.
Yep, good to go.
Welcome to the February 5th, 2020 meeting of the Hillsborough Board of Adjustment meeting. Please join me in seat the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting has been duly advertised according to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, known as the Sunshine Law. Notice of the 2020 annual meeting schedule has been provided to the officially designated newspapers, the Township Clerk, and posted on the bulletin board at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex. Roll call, please.
Mr. Valchek?
Here.
Ms. Erickson? Here. Mr. Sirachi?
Here.
Mr. Sandler, absent. Ms. Haynes? Here. Ms. Salili? Here. Mr. Walker is absent. And Mr. Basil?
Here.
And Chairman Herbert?
Here. Okay, so we don't have any meeting minutes tonight to consider. Next consideration, we have 3 resolutions. The first one is Sean Picasso, FBA 1919. Is there a second? Second.
Wait, who seconded? Because I don't. Mr. Mr. Valchek.
Who's eligible to vote on this?
I got it. I'll just call everybody out. Chairman Herbert?
Yes?
Ms. Haynes? Yes. Mr. Valchek?
Yes.
And Ms. Erickson?
Yes.
The second resolution is Tyrone and Kelly Jackson. That's BA 1918. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Chairman Herbert?
Yes?
Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Mr. Valchek?
Yes.
Ms. Erickson?
Yes.
The last resolution is Salvatore J. Puglio and Karen Puglio, BA 1916. Motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Herbert?
Yes?
Mr. Valchek?
Yes.
Ms. Erickson?
Yes.
Okay, we have 2 items on Board of Adjustment business. The first one is the tennis facility. Patrick, you want to explain what's going on with that, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you were aware when we were here, that the tennis facility had to adjourn from their previous meeting date. and we originally had them scheduled for the March 4th. In discussions with our department, they wish to adjourn to a further date out to at least April 30th, 2020. We could put them on for an agenda for a later date till we know more information. But until we know something more, they're just extending a little bit more time out to April 30th.
Okay, now as I understand, they sent a letter in on January 27th, which is 5 weeks before the March 4th meeting, and by our bylaws, if they do that more than 3 weeks before, they automatically grant it, and they don't have to come before the board for permission to.
It's not automatic, but you can grant the extension without the attorney appearing. Yes.
Okay, so you're saying we have to vote on an extension tonight?
Mark, I don't think we need a vote, or do we?
Well, you need to give direction to the planning department if you want to do that by vote or just by consensus. I think either is sufficient.
Okay, so let's just have a consensus vote. Those in favor for accepting the adjournment?
Motion to accept the adjournment.
Okay. Second.
I'll second it.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Okay. So if anybody,
It should be noted that they still would need to notice if they were to be on for a meeting.
right. And the agenda for today's meeting actually says that they would have to renotice.
Correct.
Okay, I asked you before, but we don't know if I know it could be an opposition probably for that, like having an attorney, but we don't know if the attorneys were.
Not that I know of.
Can I say that I did see on social media today that they are posting that this meeting is going to happen with them and that people are asked to join. So I don't know.
What do you mean? They're going to come on the 4th?
That they are still word that they don't know that this has been postponed. So there is talk on town forum to encourage people to attend the March 4th meeting.
The problem is we have no, like, we
No,
don't know what Facebook.
Right,
So what we can do
I
is-
understand that, but I'm wondering if the proper sources have really.
Well, if nothing else, since we just passed a motion to accept it, we should certainly post it on the
Yeah.
township website. Patrick, do we normally?
Well, this is the posting right here on today's agenda. It says that they've been postponed.
Well, yeah, I know, but, and I didn't hear the answer
Well,
about their attorney.
Yes, so the attorney formally requested an adjournment from the hearings that was supposed to be scheduled on March 4th, 2020 on this matter.
But has the objector's attorney been notified? Mark, would that be appropriate?
I think it would if the planning department is aware of who's representing objectors.
I don't have a contact for any objecting attorney.
You're here for that tonight?
Yeah, the attorney is Robert Simon. That's it, and I don't think he has been notified.
Okay. Since you're here, in a little bit, we're going to have input from the public on things not on the agenda, so I ask you to come up at that point. Okay, we're just trying to figure out how to get this out there because we don't have a proactive way we can put it on the township website, which we did.
Do you want to kind of give me something and I'll go to that post?
Well, I don't think it's appropriate for members of the board to post on Facebook. That's the problem.
But I know, I saw it was,
Yeah.
No, but it should be something posted by the township.
So I know
Well,
that
the township, the planning department, which of course handles scheduling, and as far as I'm concerned, it's entirely appropriate that the planning department post. I think it's desirable that board members not post
Right.
anything, even if it's just adjournments regarding active applications. But if we have information that Mr. Simon is representing objectors, certainly it's appropriate that somebody get in touch with him. Mr. Gorman can do it if the board prefers. I could do it, but there's no reason why Mr. Gorman can't.
If I recall, he was before this board before on a different matter, correct?
He was the attorney who represented objectors in the Verizon cell tower matter.
Yeah, we could probably get something from that application.
If you have any difficulty finding his contact information,
Andrea Lawyer Service.
I certainly.
Thank you.
we had another application that's asking for adjournment also. That's what's happening with the Channing application.
Yes. So, this is a homeowner application that was originally scheduled to be on for this meeting, but the never got their notice out in time to the public, and they were never officially on any agenda before this board. So they never officially noticed, and they never officially were placed on an agenda at this point. Since our previous conversation with them is that the applicant has become ill, and from what we know, that they're requesting an extension out until at least October, at this point, October 1st to be exact. So due to personal reasons, they can't attend a meeting at this point.
Okay, and then you said they never noticed?
They never noticed.
Okay, so in that case, we don't have to...
Yeah, so in this case, we'll extend, they're requesting for their extension. At this point, they will still need the notice for their application whenever they contact our office and they decide they're ready to go again. Of course, a meeting date would have to be open too.
Sure. Okay, now at this point, I'll ask if there's any business from the floor for anything that's not on the agenda tonight. So,
Well, I just wanted to reiterate with Robert Simon. He's an attorney for myself, my wife, and 2 of my neighbors.
Microphone.
why don't you come up and to the mic and... Yes. Here, you want.
All right.
Can I just get your name?
My name is Richard David. I live at 118 Wardsville Road. And we are I'm part of the group that's trying to oppose this. And as far as I know, Mr. Simon hasn't received anything from the town. He's heard it from us because we've heard of it, but I don't know if he's heard anything actually from the town.
So Mr. Simon did hear something from you, but he never contacted the town on his own. Okay.
And I mean, that's all that I...
Okay.
And actually, until just now, when we passed a motion,
Yeah.
officially nothing had been done.
Right.
That's a good point, Chicky.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and again, hopefully, a lot of people will not necessarily turn out on the next meeting because...
Well, yeah, there will be a lot of people.
Right, and we're sort of just trying to figure out how to let them know that it's not going to happen. We don't have really good...
Well, we can go on a Facebook post ourselves.
Good, okay,
And we'll,
because we really can't.
I know, I understand. No, we'll do that.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Okay, so the only application we have tonight is the, it's next week. It's the park site.
Yep. So I'll introduce the application. The application on for tonight is the Parkside in Mountain View. File number BA 1911. Is located at block 180.09, lot 4. Otherwise known as Parkside Mountain View development, located on Rouser Way. The applicant is seeking a deed variance to construct a freestanding sign to be installed at the entrance of the corner of Mountain View Road and Pleasant View Road on the property located in the agricultural district. Time of decision is 5/21/20.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Just my name is
Microphone,
John.
please.
Yeah, could you use the mic there?
Oh,
Sit
yeah.
down, yeah.
Usually I'm loud enough, so
Well, just
for
in case.
recording purposes.
Yeah, yeah.
My name is John Kwasnik from law firm
Thank
Mazake
you so much.
Kwasnik. I'm going to be representing Parkside and Mountain View tonight for this application. Not sure, is this on?
Dan, you're familiar with that microphone, right?
Can what?
Yeah.
It's on red, that's
Okay,
the reason I was wondering. Is this one on better?
Yeah.
I'll sit.
This is still not working.
Is this one working?
That's it, now I hear.
Okay. You're broken. Oh, that
You
was
gotta
on.
get like
it was on mute.
really
Oh,
disgustingly close.
okay.
Yeah.
Like you're a rock star.
You want me to sing? Do a
Keep
little
on
karaoke?
Jovi for the night. Make Tina happy.
Not a problem. We were on an application for a sign. Originally, the developer, when he put this project before the planning board, never put any signage for the community. And the owner occupants are looking for a sign. And I'm going to have Mr. Fortunato testify. I also have the contractor here who will be doing the work in case any questions come up. Just some bookkeeping though, I did receive an email yesterday requesting an escrow check and also the additional green cards. I didn't know who I hand that up to. Patrick?
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
No problem. So without any further ado, I'm going to call Mr. Fortunato as my first witness. who I understand has appeared before the board before, so unless there's any questions regarding his qualifications, I'm going to avoid that step.
I don't remember, so just tell me.
Well, can I swear? I'll swear in.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. Can you raise your hand, please? Do you solemnly swear testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
I remember you, but I don't remember your name, so can you just state and spell for the record?
Daniel, and it's FORUNATO.
And you're testifying as a
I'm the architect that
architect.
did the drawings for this project. And what I just wanted to explain on the project is that the owner needed a sign on the portion of the property which is on the corner of Mountain View Road and Pleasant View Road. And the way the property is right now, that piece of property, it slopes down, so it's on a low section of the property closest to the road. There might be some concern about visibility, but the sign, the way it's positioned right now, is that if you're approaching on Mountain View Road, want to make a left onto Pleasant View Road, the sign is running perpendicular to that, so you only see 30 inches of the sign. It's a 10 foot wide by 30 inch wide overall block. And the sign itself is, it's only 4.5 feet high. No electrical is running to the sign. And basically on the documents, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a stone structure, foundation below that, and we have the park side and Mountain View sign on the middle of that. We have some planting around it, and it's pretty straightforward. If the board had any particular questions about the sign, I could answer.
I noticed with the drawing we have that there's some plantings around it. Will those plantings be, make sure that they don't grow up and block the sign? Will they be taken care of?
Yeah, those are low-growing plants. They're not going to be bushes that we need to trim them, so they are low-growing.
It'll be maintained by the association's landscaper that's currently cutting the grass there.
And you said there's no lights out there?
No electrical to this.
That's great, but no solar either?
No.
Mr. Fortunato, just a few questions from my end. Elmer, remember that I think we can resolve right now. The sign's going to be one-sided or a two-sided sign?
It's a one-sided sign.
One-sided. You just testified that it's not going to be illuminated, correct?
That's correct.
So, can you indicate how far the sign is going to set back off of each roadway, approximately at this time?
I just see right there on the plans or not. Yeah, I do not have on the plans how far it is.
Sure.
It's going to be, it's approximately about 50 feet back from the road, but I don't have that documented on this right now.
Sure, and won't be located any side triangle or any type of easement on the property, correct?
It's inside that red triangle that you see there. That's on
Okay.
property, yes, that's
Yep.
correct.
So it's on property, but not in any easement or side triangle?
That's correct, it's outside that area.
Is that located on a sloping area, I believe?
Yes, it is. It's on the downside of the slope, on the corner of that, the two roads.
And will any of the trees be removed from this area of the property?
I'm not sure about that, actually. The trees in the back, I don't think those trees are, never brought to my attention that they're being removed, but they're not near the trees.
Okay.
I mean, two-dimensionally on my rendering, yeah, it looks like they are, but in reality it's not. In the photos, it's on the downside of that slope.
Okay.
Other questions from members of the board?
Some questions of board members. I have questions of board members now. Mr. Fortunato, if you know, who's the owner of the property that this is to be located on?
It's actually technically owned
I
by
asked a question, Mr. Fortunato.
Well, I don't know the answer. I'll pass that on to the attorney.
Do you know whether what the property is devoted to? That is it an easement? Is it dedicated for open space? somebody own the lot? Do you know anything about the ownership?
I do not know that, no.
Mr. Quesnick, certainly I don't mind making representations about those things if you could clarify this for the board.
It's a common area controlled and managed by the homeowners association. Ultimately, as you know, from plan unit development, each homeowner owns a portion of the common area, but the actual management of it is controlled by the association.
Is it dedicated for as open space?
I don't believe it is. I don't know that for sure. That's part of the original approval, but I'm assuming it's not.
Well, I asked the question because if it is, then it would seem to me your association needs consent from someone in addition to this board. Okay. Whoever is responsible for that dedication. And without knowing what the dedication is, or if there is one, I wouldn't speculate on who that might be.
I could research that.
I think it would be prudent just to make sure that you don't need some approval other than from this board.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. I'll research that and get that.
That would be a condition.
This is here.
Well, it does. I would propose that it should be, is as with so many conditions, if this is actually subject to somebody else's jurisdiction, it doesn't make a difference whether you make it a condition. It's just good form to put it.
I have a question. Is the area, the triangular area where the sign will go, is that part of Lot 4, which is says to be owned and maintained by the homeowners association?
That entire area, as far as I know, is all Lot 4,
Correct.
including the red triangle and beyond.
And you've got the pipeline running across
That's
it as well.
the Texas Eastern, yes.
Okay.
Any questions from the public? Seeing none?
I was getting afraid when those two were here. I was like,
I don't see any more questions. Do you have another witness?
no, Your Honor. No, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. I was in court all day, so I'm different mindset.
Mr. Quesnick, this is a D variance. Are you going to offer planning testimony?
I'm sorry, what, Mr.
This is a D variance.
I know. I was going to have Mr. Fortunato just confirm there's no issues with respect to the site triangle or any other issues or detriment to the zoning.
Sounds like that could conceivably meet the negative criteria.
Correct. Mr. Fortunato, in developing the plans for the association, did you have an opportunity to look at the zoning ordinance and the site plan for the property?
Site plan, yes, ordinance, no.
Are you aware of the zoning ordinance for this residence? It's in our zone, I believe?
That's all I know. I don't know. I did not look into the setbacks like I normally would on a project like a house or something like that. So this is just a sign, so I didn't really delve that far into setbacks or zoning requirements on that.
In your opinion, would there be any impairment to the zoning ordinance or a zoning plan?
That clearly goes beyond the expertise for which he's been recognized as an expert. I mean, maybe he has other expertise, but the only thing he's been offered for
Well,
is
the
as an architect.
expertise I have is on zoning. I'm very familiar with the zoning requirements on any project I do.
You are
But
not
this
a
is
licensed planner, are you?
I'm an architect, licensed architect.
Yes, but you're not a licensed planner.
No, but I know the zoning requirements though, and I know what coverages mean and all the requirements that go with it. So looking at the size of the lot.
But planning testimony in this regard would involve a professional opinion, which would be from someone who has expertise in that. I mean, if you want to testify to facts, you know, that's, of course, any witness can testify to facts.
There would be no impairment of the traffic.
That's an opinion.
Correct.
If you're asking for an opinion, I would have to ask the board not to consider that as an opinion, and it's clearly beyond the expertise for which he's been offered. Again, I'm not saying he doesn't have other expertise. He hasn't been qualified for anything except as a licensed architect.
I have no other questions, Mr. Fortunato.
Need testimony from a planner?
I was just talking to Mr. Fortunato, if I have to, if I can carry the application.
Yeah, no.
To engage a planner to come back and testify, I don't think it would be that difficult to do.
No, it's just the,
Well, I understand, Mr. Chairman. I would just ask, would we be required to renotice if we get back on the agenda for March and get it.
Well, first of all, there's a time for decision issue, isn't there, Mr. Corman?
They should be okay.
I'm sorry?
They should be okay. It's after May 20th, 2020. Is your time of decision.
Good. One thing I will, the board certainly has routinely been asked in circumstances like this to carry without further notice. There's certainly nothing that precludes the board from granting such a request.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
I have one question. Were you aware this was a use variance?
A D variance?
Yeah.
Originally, I thought it was a C variance when I made the
I know
original
what you did,
application.
but were
It
you
was
made
changed.
aware that,
It was, and I've had situations in other towns that they've accepted the testimony of the architect, actually,
as a planner?
As a planner?
with some little leeway they gave the architect.
Did you check with the planning office? Or
No, I apologize, I did not.
Have to come back.
I've had a lot of other towns that treat this as a different application, I would be quite honest with you.
But this is Hillsborough. So.
No, I realize that, miss. I just was just letting you know.
Patrick, we get one for March.
Are you guys comfortable with also this is without notice, correct? This is without notice?
That's
We could do-
what I understand.
Right, we're gonna give
Could we-
notice to the audience.
Could we do February 19th? And Rural Farms is on that night.
That's true. Can you get it done that quickly?
I can call two planners I know and let Patrick know by the morning.
Well, we set a date now. You're either gonna have to come back or...
If
Because March 4th would be difficult, because that's a big application on that night. And if you guys want to try to get everything done in that evening if possible, if not,
Mr. Chairman, we can get a planner. We were going to be able to get a planner by that date.
Right.
By what date?
By February 19th, I think you said?
Yes, that's okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
That'd be for the meeting. Good, okay.
yes.
Motion to,
Motion to move this without notice to the February 19th.
second? Those in favor?
Wait, who seconded it? I can't, on my side, be able to hear you. Thank you, Janine. Okay, we want a roll call on this, or? Oh, all in
can we
favor?
just confirm the first and second again, please? First was,
Helen and then Mr. Valchek.
wait, I'll check, okay. Thank you.
Okay, those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn?
I heard that.
Second?
Sorry.
No.
Second.
Those in favor? Aye.
Hold John accountable.
Get over here, Fred.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Ready to do this wonderful thing I got? Okay, so now.